Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Hana. I'm going to be reacting to relationship advice posts on Reddit. I just did a video on this and ended up getting the biggest curveball because I did a whole video giving advice on this particular situation based on what the person said, only to find out that this person, who was a man contemplating divorcing his wife, had actually been posting her nudes on a website. So it just goes to show that obviously with something virtual like this, you don't get both sides of the story, and it's very unfortunate. So I'm going to be doing another one. Maybe I'll post that one just for the fun of it. But I'm going to be doing another one. And I only am going to be reacting to marriage post. Side note, I am not married. So please feel free to take what I say with a grain of salt. They're just my thoughts and personal opinions, and obviously I'm going to be coming to it from a faith-based perspective. Let's do this one. I, 35 female, am considering divorcing my husband, 38 male, over political differences. I never in a million years would have thought I'd be posting here, but here we go. I've been with my husband 15 years, and very recently I feel as if he slipped into a person I don't recognize. Looking back, there were some signs that I think I brushed off, but now it seems he's been radicalized. He's talking about vaccines causing autism, COVID-19 covers up conspiracies, saying Tucker Carlson is a centrist and that the only reason I dislike Trump is because of propaganda. Mind you, I was more politically active during those elections, and he always disliked Trump during that time too. I know people say politics aren't a good reason to divorce, but I just don't see that as true. People vote based off morals and beliefs, and for the first time in 15 years, I feel like our morals and beliefs are too diverged. We have kids in a home together. I never would have imagined we'd be at this crossroads. He says he wants to stay together, but also says things like how I don't care if kids, even our kids, die because I don't share his belief. I have friends who are in relationships with people they disagree with politically, but I never wanted that for myself. I'm sure I'll get some hate comments, as I know people here will agree with him. I'm not looking for political advice, despite what my husband apparently thinks I'm more than capable of researching and forming my opinion. Can a marriage be saved when ideals are so different? Do I wait to see how the election plays out and then decide? I'm sick at the thought of throwing away the life we built together, but I'm equally sick at the thought of being with someone who doesn't consider misogyny and bigotry deal breakers. A piece of me thinks my husband is having a midlife crisis and latching onto the wrong things to give his life more meaning. He works a lot, and I think that's where he's finding time to just get involved in this stuff. Dang. She made such a good point here where it's like people vote off of morals and beliefs. And so when you have a situation where you feel like your morals and belief systems are not aligned, then it's so difficult to navigate that in any relationship, marriage or otherwise. And so I come from a faith where it's like divorce is allowed, but there's still like all of these standards to meet prior to initiating divorce, and you really try to reconcile. And I'm not going to have any fancy answer for this other than I think, again, I'm not married, take it with a grain of salt, but I think our political differences a reason. You built a life with this person over 15 years. I'd really sit down and have a conversation about this and how to navigate it before initiating something, because at the end of the day, the polarization politically that has happened in the past like 2 decades or so is kind of a newer phenomenon. Like, you never really used to have people who dictated their friend groups and their relationships and their family gatherings and all of this off of politics. And I have learned throughout kind of, I don't know, just discussing with people who I do not agree with politically, that a lot of people really are coming from a good place, even if I believe that their political ideology is wrong. And it is coming from a certain, for a lot of people, it is coming from there is a moral stance there, right? They do care for, like, it's about life, or it's about, protecting people's freedoms or whatever it might be, and on both sides of the spectrum. And so, wow, this one actually really got me, because I can't imagine how difficult. It's like all the other ones were so easy for me to respond to, but this one is hard because I was in a similar situation, and I remember how difficult it was. But I think two things happen. I think there's a bit of like shifting that happens on both ends. And when someone has such a sudden shift in their political ideologies and ideas, there is a little bit of a crisis that sometimes happens. Obviously, on both sides, there's a lot of social media influence that really takes issues and causes them to be a lot more explosive than they necessarily need to be, and then people's emotions are worked up, and now you're dealing with people who are coming at things from a very emotional perspective than strictly a logical perspective of, is this best for the greater good of American society, which is, in America, like, that's what politics is supposed to be. I exist in my life through a very particular moral framework as a practicing Muslim woman, but even I can admit, like, politics is not necessarily supposed to be something that is strictly based off of morals, because in my view, morality comes from our religious system, and American politics is supposed to be separate from religiosity. So then the conversation is, well, what is for the betterment of society as a whole? And then that comes to the, apparently it's supposed to happen to be that the people are the ones voting on what that best is. And it's hard to find that happy middle ground when you have such great polarization. With all that being said, it's like, I would have a conversation. How can we navigate this and respect one another's decisions and thoughts on this? Even if you don't respect the actual belief, you still have to respect that people have a right to believe that. Even I'll meet people who are like completely Islamophobic, and as frustrating as it is, it's like, well, you have a right to believe what you want to believe, so long as you are not harming people through it and restricting people's freedoms through it. You can believe that. You believe, if you have beliefs about me as a Muslim woman, go for it. Like, I don't exist and operate in this world to prove you wrong. I exist to do what I can for myself, and I worship one God, and that's like what my existence is about for me. So if you guys can manage, like, how can we respect each other's rights to believe without it being this like chaotic existence? And then also, when it comes down to kids, I think it's really important. It's like, we gotta let kids decide for themselves. Not kids, sorry. Your kids are eventually going to grow up to decide for themselves. And I work with a lot of kids, and give them time to kind of decide how they want to navigate. And if you guys are going to have a debate about something like this in front of the kids, then it really has to be with a lot of decorum and respect, because it's very hard for children to see their parents going at each other's throats, and it causes a lot of chaos in the kids. And as much as it can be like distressing for husband and wife to see this difference, it's even more distressing for children to see it. Because it's like, we're a family, we're supposed to be on a unified front, and children don't. I don't know how old your kids are, but children don't have that sense of understanding nuance, and that like people can still love each other and respect each other despite having such differing beliefs. And there's the differing political belief systems even in my family, and so I really imagine that no families are devoid of this difference at this point. I hope that was helpful, guys. That's hard. That really is hard. Let's go to the next one. Let's find another one. Jeez. No. Okay. Let's no. 36 female found protection in my 36 male husband's pockets. How to deal with that? I am a 36-year-old female, and I've been married for nearly 6 years to my husband. We welcomed another baby. Don't put your names on here. We welcomed another baby roughly 3 months ago. Oh, congratulations. And I've been dealing with postpartum depression, moving and adjusting in a new city. That's hard. I actually did a research project on when I was studying medicine, did a research project on postpartum depression. And in the United States, one of the biggest influences is social support. We do not see the levels of postpartum depression in countries that have communal cultures, or predominantly communal cultures in the way that we see in the United States. So it's a holiday just past house cleaning, waiting for company to arrive, getting up babies, older one toys, prepping laundry, etc. While the laundry is where I found the protection in my husband's pockets, to say I was fuming was an understatement. We have absolutely no need for them. I tried to ask him about it, and he starts yelling, and he doesn't know where they came from or why it's even in his pockets. Whole time I'm side-eyeing him. How you don't know. Every protection I've had, I know how I came in possession of it. So after company leaves, he starts talking to me, but being smug about it, saying it's not what I'm thinking. So I ask him, what am I thinking? And he says, whatever it is, that's not what's going on. So I asked him to explain it, which he couldn't do. So sometime later, I tried again asking why they were in the house, and no response. He starts to threaten to leave. I'm pissed off. So I didn't care. I wanted to know one thing. Why were they in my house? Forget all the BS. So I then say to tell me, why when I confronted you about them, you didn't get rid of them? Why did you put them back in your pockets? Ooh, that was a gotcha. Now he's laughing, saying I'm not making any sense. When he saw me begin to actively withdraw from him, how hurt it made me. Did he come up with some sort of excuse? Pants come from his mom's house. I called BS because they were at our old house before we moved. I do the damn laundry, so I know, wow, he's really reaching. So the excuse was so unbelievable, literally. He's been asking questions, trying to figure out where my head's at, but I'm so mad. I don't know what to do. How can I deal with the situation? First of all, she is a writer. She is a writer. Miss Ella. You had me, like, your description has me laughing. I'm sorry, man. It blows my mind how common cheating is. Like, I feel like I've been so sheltered because I did not realize how common it is. In a situation like that, I mean, it's like the writing's on the wall, right? It's like if someone truly does not know how they are, then they are gonna be so embarrassed, like explaining the heck out of it, truly giving you any explanation you need, because it's like you're trying to clear your name, so you're gonna do whatever you can to clear your name. You're not gonna be asking, well, why were you there? You're not gonna be threatening to leave. You're not gonna be showing anger. You're not gonna say it's not what you think it is. You're not gonna be coming up with all these lies that you can't keep straight because you're just creating this web. You're not gonna be, yeah, you're not gonna be doing that. And it seems you caught him in the act, or you caught him, and he's trying to figure out how to clear his name, because it's like, it's so interesting. Shame is such an interesting human experience. It's like you don't feel shame when you're doing the thing that's wrong, but you feel shame once you're caught for doing the thing that's wrong. And then 3 is like, eventually there's going to be a situation where he asks, how can we make this work despite all of this? And it's hard because it's like, there are situations where in matters of infidelity, couples come back stronger than ever before. Do I believe that people can screw up catastrophically and better themselves after and never go back there? I do believe that. Do I believe that a cheater is always a cheater? I do believe that too. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think that when I come from a certain belief system where it's like God tells us not to even approach certain things, don't even come near those things. And when God mentions that, he's one of the things that he mentions that it's towards fornication. And so it's like when God, as I'm reading this and approaching this from a Muslim perspective, it's like when God tells us not to even near something, it's because it's like that little taste of poison is gets such a stronghold on you. You don't even want proximity to it. You don't even want to let it have any hold on you. And so it's like once you do it once, it's easier to do it again, and a third time and a fourth time. It becomes riveting. But then at the same time, there are people that consciously make the effort to not do those things. And so I guess it just comes down to you. Is this something that's worth saving? Is this something that's worth saving? And you have to have that conversation. And a lot of times that just for a lot of women, it comes down to like, were they a good person at any point? And you believe that they can get back to that, and you want to get back to that. The other thing that a lot of women don't want to talk about, and I know it's hard because it's like you're already in the midst of postpartum depression, and I've seen it with my own eyes. I have sisters and friends who've dealt with that, but thinking, right, I was mentioning this in another video, but it's like nothing is ever 100% someone's fault in a relationship. There's always a little bit that we sometimes do that can contribute to it, even though it doesn't justify the wrong that they commit at all. It doesn't justify it, but there's like to explain is not to justify, and to assess the factors that affected their decision is also not to justify. So it's like he obviously is not being a good husband in the situation. Can you assess how you've been as a wife, and have you fallen short in any way? And if you have fallen short, is it worth it to you to address those shortcomings? And if not, then you kind of it's like, where do you go from there? That becomes your decision to navigate. I'm so sorry, man. That sucks. That absolutely is horrific. I'm so curious. Let's read the comments on this. Did I? Oh, I think I forgot to. I stopped sharing the screen. He starts to threaten to leave. You should have said, then leave and go to whomever. So it looks like she's planning on leaving. So it's like coming from where space is definitely something that I'm certain would be helpful. Like, if you got to kick him out and tell him go, because this is a sanctity of marriage. I forgot what I was just saying. Oh yeah, space. He destroyed the sanctity of a marriage. So you say you damaged the sanctity of this relationship. We need separation for now to figure out what's going on. The other thing is you do have a baby. I wish people really think about that. It's like that's the father of the child, and it's going to be important to think about what to do when you have a baby in terms of like what the long-term effect is going to be. And you married him for a reason, so it's like, are those reasons still present, and could they be upheld? It's hard because it's like sometimes I realize as I'm going through the comments and seeing replies is that you already have this idea of what you want to do in your head, and you're almost looking for validation instead of advice. I can't tell if this is what's happening in this case, but with that being said, girl, I just wish you luck and clarity. Don't let other people get into your head about what you need to do. You got to figure it out for yourself. You have to really think about what you feel is going to be best for you, because those people are not going to be living those nights that you're going to be living through. They're not going to be sitting there racking their brain at nighttime thinking about what's going on in the way that you're going to, right? So it's easy for them to tell you, to say what that you should do and shouldn't do, and this isn't that, and we'll have your back. But the reality is they're not going to live the consequences of your decision. So make sure it's coming from the heart of what you feel is best for you and your baby. All right, guys. I think I'm going to stop here because it's been a long video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like these kinds of videos, then please like, comment below, and subscribe to the channel. Sinan.